Want more game-changing insights from the best and last mile delivery? Stay locked in with Last to First. Follow us on social media for exclusive clips, behind-the-scene content, and expert tips. Subscribe to our podcast so you never miss a beat. Join the conversation. Send us some comments, drop in your questions, and become a part of the Last to First movement. Want to be a guest or know someone that should be? Hit us up and let's get them on the show. If you're interested in sponsorship opportunities, reach out to us. We'd love to work with you. Find us on social media with @LastToFirstPodcast. Send email to info@LastToFirstPodcast.com or go check out our website and let us know how we can support, help, and bring you better content going forward. Now back to Last to First.
It's not just hard to do and operate, which I want to talk more about how you guys do that, but just from a standpoint to stay profitable and doing it because it's high risk. Yeah. High risk. So when you were first getting into it, did you fully understand the cost at that point?
No.
Yeah.
In the course of my career, and I'm sure you can echo the same sentiment, you get thrown into things and you have to figure them out. The one thing I knew is, echoing back to what I was saying before in my previous statement, which was that I knew we had to pivot to something. It had to be either medical, which I didn't have a great understanding of, or home delivery. Now, you could probably say the three main pivots would be medical, home delivery, and probably now parcel, right, after COVID.
Yeah.
But back then it was just, you're either going to do home delivery, medical, and I mean, if you could do both, that's great. But no, I didn't have an understanding of the cost.
Yeah.
I did not understand how the 3PL structure and model worked. But you get into it and you figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go deeper on that because you're right. A lot of times, and we've talked about this a couple of times on this podcast, where it's hard to say no to opportunities because you want to make sure you're always trying to grow your business.
It's so important that you say that, Jason, because the best I've got a lot of good advice, and I'm blessed by having a lot of good advice. But one of the best advice I've ever heard in business is say yes to every opportunity and figure it out later.
Spoken like a true entrepreneur.
Just say yes.
Yeah.
You know, if you have time for this story, I'll tell you right now.
Love stories.
So when I first got into home delivery, I got into it by one of my mentors in that space, a gentleman by the name of Steve Nelson. And he took a chance on me. Now, I didn't have a warehouse. So I get a call from him, and he's running a 3PL that he had started out of the Midwest. And they want to start giving us orders and drop shipping orders to our warehouse.
And you don't have a warehouse?
I don't have a warehouse. I have 1,000 square foot office on 32nd Street.
Yeah.
No warehouse. So I was very fortunate to know a gentleman who knew my mom when she was growing up, and he was very successful in the commercial and residential moving industry.
Okay.
And he owned half of 121st Street. Huge warehouse, 100 and something square feet, 100,000 square feet.
Right.
And he knew that I was a kid, and I was trying to make it in my business, and I was trying to ensure my father's legacy would continue. And he really helped me. And he said, you can tell them they can drop ship it to my spot. And because of that man's I'm only here, Jason, because of people's generosity and kindness to me. I mean, and that includes my father and my mother, obviously. But because he was generous enough to do that, I was able to get my start and get my foot in the door in the home delivery space. Now, of course, that generosity did not last. As the volume started to increase, he was like, well, we can't necessarily keep this stuff on our dock. So you're going to have to rent. At the time, he had storage spaces.
Yeah.
So I rented, I think it was maybe 300 square foot storage unit from him.
Yep.
And I would have to go into that little tiny space. And when my drivers were going there to pull orders to get delivered, I'd have to climb over boxes and pull the stuff out. And I had no idea what I was doing. So long story short, he ends up selling his company, and I didn't really try to go back into the home delivery space after that. I didn't really think much of it. I just kind of tried to grow my my little same day deliveries that we were doing. And I get a phone call from him a couple of years later, and he's with a new 3PL, and he says, "I want you to be my guy in New York." And this was on a Friday. And he said, "Come Monday, gonna drop ship a couple shipments to you."
Okay.
I said, "All right, no problem." I get off the phone with him. I don't have a warehouse.
Still no warehouse.
I have no warehouse.
Still no warehouse.
So I'm Googling, where can I get a warehouse? And I'm Googling, spaces for sublet and anything I can think of.
Yeah.
So that by Friday morning, he has a place to send his shipments to. And that's what I did. And you figure it out.
I mean,
You figure it out, man.
you know what I love about this? Because it reminds me, it's why we have so many parallels. So probably maybe a year into joining QCS, I've probably seen the same thing you're seeing, like looking for new verticals. Where can we grow?
Yeah.
It's a company named Manna Freight. I'm sure you remember Manna Freight. They were slinging TVs like hotcakes. And they were looking for a provider in New Orleans to receive TVs and then do home delivery, right?
Yeah.
One-man delivery TV. And probably one of the first bids I responded to. I had no idea how to price anything out. Price it too low. Won the damn bid.
Of course.
I wasn't even thinking about, literally didn't even think about the TVs have to come to us first.
Right.
That wasn't even, at our time, everything was point to point. We had no facility.
Yeah.
And then they send the email saying, where should we ship the TVs to? And I was like,
What?
You mean something to me first? I didn't account for that. So our first warehouse at QCS was the hallway of 1,000 square foot office.
Yeah.
Then we had TVs from like floor to ceiling.
Yeah.
You had to like walk past, the hallway like this. And then we went, so that just became a hazard. And my mom was like, you got to do something with this. So didn't know what to do. We had a customer that had a printing company. It was a customer.
Yeah.
And they had like a big garage, basically, like attached to their building. And I was like, I called the lady and I was like, can we get some space? And it was maybe, I don't know, 500-600 square feet. And so negotiate a deal, start sending a truck there, not even thinking you need dock high. Not even thinking about a dock high. This is a grade level facility. So we give another address to the customer's location. The driver pulls up. It's on Porter Street, like really right by the Superdome in New Orleans. So hard to back in. They hated delivering there, right? You just don't know these things. You don't know you have dock high. You don't think about how the truck can access it. These are things you don't even think about, but you figure it out.
You learn. Yeah.
You figure it out. Yeah.
The best entrepreneurs, the best entrepreneurs to me have always been people to figure it out on the fly. And that particular advice that I was citing was from Richard Branson, the CEO of Virgin.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, say yes to everything and hang up the phone and figure it out.
Figure it out.
Because you don't know, Jason, when you're going to get that opportunity again. And it's so funny you mentioned Manna because Steve Nelson, my mentor in the home delivery, he came from Manna. So that's why I started laughing when you said that.
Yeah.
But he took a chance on me. And I, simply because I think, and I know you know this better than anybody, in this particular industry, relationships mean everything.